pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thursday night in sim racing media with the with the Nextgen Cup Series for Racers Elite. Last week we were at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This week we come to the High Banks, recently paved, extremely fast Super Speedway, Atlanta. Doing something a little bit different this evening. Joining me in the booth tonight are two familiar names for the Racers Elite Cup Series as far as the broadcast booth is concerned. You have Alan Bergen and Daniel Paulus, and Alan has the latest news on our standings. Go ahead, Alan.
Thanks, John. So here's your points rundown on the Next Gen Racers Elite Thursday Series. Leading the points, we got Alex Teft, Corey Krell picking up 15 spots in the points. He's moving up to second. Andrew Teft is down one from second place. He's going to be in P3 in the points. Fourth place will be Joshua Neal. Austin Smith will be fifth in the points. Sixth will tied for sixth. Actually, will be Brad Hayes and Brendan Poffenbarger. A three-way tie. Scratch that. Kinsley Smith is in the mix too. Three guys battling for ninth place right now in the point standings after 4 of 15 rounds is Dennis Kane, AJ Cawthon, John Schollenbacher. Iro Kohlhaas is in 16th in point or 12th in points. 13th in points is Paul Shaw. Brandon Highcutt is 4th in points. or 14th. Sorry. Uh, huh, oh, and 15th in points is Jeremy Carter.
All right, Alan. Well, I appreciate you telling us about that. It looks like we're down to the grid. Daniel, I know you enjoy these fast racetracks, so tell us what to expect here in Atlanta. It looks like we've got a very, very large field. I'm showing 27 cars gridding right now.
It's going to be an exciting event here tonight, John, from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're not on the old configuration anymore. We're on the new configuration now, and it is a drafting style track, too. So we're going to see a lot of lines being used here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I saw that also being used earlier on at the old Atlanta, too. So we're going to have to see how these new lanes can affect these drivers. You're going to see other drivers being aggressive too. You're going to see them towards the front more. You're going to see more drivers in the back trying to not get involved in the big one here because it is kind of like a miniature super speedway. So we're going to have to see how these drivers can handle it.
All right, I mentioned the configuration. So on screen right now, this is the Racers Elite Next Gen Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Very large racetrack, 1.52 miles. It does not race like that. It races much larger. The outside air temperature is 81 degrees. Track temp's 97 degrees. So that tells me pretty quickly that tire wear could come into play, but the high banking and the recently paved surface helps us out with that. So these cars are now gridding. We're going to take just a couple moments here to go over the grid. On the front row is Austin Smith and Gordon Spain. Row number 2 belongs to Dennis Kane, Truth Hoke. Row 3, AJ Cawthon. Alongside of him is Ira Kohlhaas. Row 4 is Michael Smith and John Fowler. Row 5, Jason Bottoms, Corey Corral. Starting 11th, Thomas Stanley. And 12th is Paul Shaw. Going on the 13th, you're looking at Diego Rodriguez, looking for another good finish after last week at Indy. Sam Kohlhaas is 14th, 15th. Andrew Teff, 16th, Joshua Neal, 17th is Zach Lockett. Running out of time here, Alex Teff is going to start 18th. 19th is James Smith, Brad Hayes, 20th. 21st belongs to Kinsley Smith and Ryan Coker in 22nd. 23rd place is going to be Brandon Honeycutt, Jeremy Carter's 24th. 25th is Dwayne McMahon. 26th, John Schoenbachler. And 27th is Michael Brooks. Just in time, we get that grid information complete as the pace car is going to turn down pit road. And as Tony Trapasso would say, wipe the visor clean, singe the belts tight. Grandma, grab your popcorn because race fans, it's showtime here in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coming into turn number 1, Alan, take it away.
Yeah, and coming into turn number 1, we got Austin Smith, last night's winner in the Xfinity Series here. He's gonna lead the field down, and he's gonna get out to a hot start here in hot Atlanta.
A quick start indeed, but you already see the draft making up for that as he was out in front, but like 2-3 car lengths, but the rest of the cars quickly catching up to him and covering that gap. And look at all the virtual fans, and these race cars just look gorgeous on this screen right now. Always a pleasure to see the epic paint schemes involved here at the Racers Elite Series. We have them Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, and they also have racing on Saturdays as well.
Yeah, John, it looked like Austin Smith fell back to second. And these guys, it's like Daytona. You don't want to get out to a huge lead because this field will swallow you up. And we're going to see guys run from the wall, through the middle, to the bottom. They're going to use every inch of this racetrack, Daniel.
They're going to use every real estate they can, too, as you see that inside line forming very nicely compared to that outside falling back a little bit. That inside line is very well organized.
So something important to always remember about Atlanta is it looks like it's a wide racetrack, but it's not. It doesn't race as wide as it looks. And we can mention that by going on board with a driver. I'm going to pick the number 45 of Michael Smith. And you see right here, from the driver's viewpoint, it really seems like it's a 2-lane racetrack. Going 3 wide puts you in extreme close quarters. So it's interesting how it's now a drafty racetrack. and it's too wide racing the whole time, but you don't have the same width that you have at, say, Daytona and Talladega to do any 3-wide racing really into the corners. Now, I'm sure that this league is going to push that at some point in this race. It's 130 laps, and as we get closer to the end, but you have to be cognizant of that because you'll run out of room really quick.
For sure, John. So you also got to remember too that these guys, this speedway is just recently paved, so it was a little lot wider until the repave. Now it's a little narrower, and that's where you get that. That's where you see that line at. And this track, it's got a lot of grip, unlike the old configuration where you were sliding around. So this track hasn't really worn into its coat yet. So we're gonna see a lot of high speeds, a lot of drafting. These guys are gonna be almost flat-footed. They're gonna correct the throttle just a little bit to make that corner and get down to the line that they want.
And it's kind of centering around following the number 27th, currently in 13th. That's Brad Hayes. He was last week's third place finisher at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Really good run for him. Currently just kind of sitting around 14th, 13th, kind of hanging out in the back. Hasn't really made any giant moves so far. Actually, let me take that back. He is up 6 positions. I don't know why I said that. I was looking at the wrong timing. But he's coming to the front. Last week finished P3.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Daniel.
And there's two things I want to point out here to both of you guys is you see these drivers push in the corners. You don't want to push in the corners because that's going to turn the car in front of you right around, especially if you push them on the side of the corner panel. And the other thing I wanted to mention here, guys, is when you see these drivers come off of turn 4 and they're racing really hard, that outside wall will literally hit you. So you want to be very careful coming out of turn 4 because I've seen drivers hit that outside wall and go across the whole front of the pack.
Yeah, Daniel, to your point on that too, sometimes, unlike Daytona where you want to hug the bottom of the racetrack because it's the shortest way around, these guys are floating these cars out to the middle. So there's 2 lines up there on this racetrack. There's 2 lanes of racing. But right now, as you're seeing on your screen, it's like 190 mile an hour pace laps right now. Everybody's not really pulling away, and we saw that last night in the Xfinity series, where no one really pulled away, and you might have one line moving better than the other, so you really got to watch those lines and see where they're going.
So we're already on lap 10 of 130 here. Racing's going rather quickly. So, and this is a super speedway kind of racing track. So what kind of amount of cautions should we expect to see? Usually at these kind of tracks, you see 3 to 5. It seems like with this group of guys, they do a pretty good job keeping it clean. But what are y'all's thoughts? 3 to 5, and is it too soon to pick a favorite?
John, based on last night, these guys are going to mind their P's and Q's a little bit more than they did last night. So I'm going to say that 3 to 5 is pretty accurate.
I'm going to say around 6 to 10 based on what I've seen in the past. But you don't know because every race is totally different than the race previous. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on it, but they're doing very good. They're all well organized. As you see, we have a move here up front towards the front of the pack.
Yeah, these guys are slicing and dicing. Right now, Austin Smith, he's not really sitting high, wide, and handsome, but he sure is leading the charge on this bottom lane.
See that inside line still battling very well, but that outside line once again has pulled up to the inside line, now battling side by side for the lead there. That's the 23 of Austin Smith and the 3 of Gordon Spain come down the front straightaway. You see a lot of drivers using different lines.
Yeah, Daniel, no one's really running away with it. No one's really trying anything crazy right now, but we're only 13 laps into a 130 lap race. No one's being aggressive. the 11 car there of AJ Clausen. He's trying to see if he can get anybody to go out to that middle lane with him.
You're gonna possibly see 3 wide later on, but I expect these drivers to stay a little calm right now. Try to see how their car's handling, because later on this race, their car could handle totally different. And like you mentioned, tire wear could come into play very soon. So we're gonna keep a close eye on that. As we are still 2 by 2 throughout the whole pack, with Austin Smith in the 23 leading.
I want to take a mention in a moment. Our largest mover in the race so far, Jeremy Carter in the number 26 machine, currently scored in the 14th to 15th place position, depending on how he's running in that high lane right there. Really nice paint scheme. I like the white, the black, and the green accents. Really makes that car pop. And something else to notice here, we kind of got a second pack brewing back here a little bit further. Just they're kind of racing exactly like you would expect to see at Daytona or Talladega, which, to my point of the cautions, you guys watching the show, let us know. We put a poll up. What kind of amount of cautions do you expect to see here? Less than 3, 3 to 5, 6 or more. Currently, a couple votes in, we're saying 3 to 5 cautions on this event right now. And this is not to say that this is how these drivers are going to race. So I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are. Have a little bit of fun. And we know that even if these guys have 6+ cautions, it's not to show how good or bad they are. You have to race hard to win at the end of these races, and sometimes things happen. But just kind of curious, because cautions have huge implications further on towards the end of the race. And so looking to see how this race is going to unfold the longer that we go out, or the longer that we go forward.
Yeah, we got the 93 car there. That New Jersey Devils paint scheme of Zach Lockett. He's bringing Kinsley Smith. They're trying to catch the back of this first group, and these guys are going to start bunching up pretty quick here. No, like I said, John, no one's running away with this thing. No one's out to a huge lead. Everybody's pretty close.
Yeah, if you look at the racing line right here, the gap from first to 10th is 2.2 seconds. And we take a look right back here. Here's where 10th is. It's Alex Teft in the number 43, and he's still got 6, 7, 8 cars right there behind him in this main group. Remember, we have a 27 car field tonight. This is huge by iRacing League numbers. So shout out to the Racers Elite guys and iRacing for putting on an awesome product that allows these drivers to come out and race and really enjoy their time. And we're 20 laps in on 130, only 10 minutes racing time. These guys are getting around this track at 30.2 seconds. They are absolutely cooking. Go ahead, Daniel.
And we're going to have these long green flag runs if nothing happens here, but you do expect that. It's hard racing, great racing going on by these drivers here tonight. And these drivers, they're not mashing down on the gas at all. They're not on full throttle throughout this whole track. They are lifting a little bit in the turns, because if they don't, they will spin somebody out. So this track is a little bit challenging. It's not like Daytona or Talladega where you can run wide open on the throttle. So I can understand what it feels like to be a driver behind the wheel here at Atlanta. I've done it myself, and let me tell you, it's a little bit challenging once you're past halfway. So we're going to have to see how these drivers can do with that. But it's pretty much a great race so far. I like seeing the different lanes that these drivers are using. But that inside line right now looks like to be the favorite.
Yeah, the ulterior point, I think we're going to see a fuel run go between 41 and 45 laps based on their fuel. And that's just a quick math problem I did in my head. So I hope I'm accurate. I may be off, so don't quote me on that.
Starting to see some more breakaways here, actually. If you look at the top 6, they've got a 2-second gap over 7th now, and then everybody's all together for the most part. The rest of the cars back on to pretty much everybody. That's the rest of the field. So the top 6 have a 2-second gap over those behind them. And then you get the rest of the field that one group in the back has caught up to them. And then we got the 6-car breakaway at the front. And that 2-second gap is going to make a really big difference come green flag pit stops that are coming around. However, if you're in that back group, you can be aggressive and make up that time coming into the pit road. But when this large of a gaggle of cars, you really risk something happening when you come down pit road in that big group, because we're not really running with tons of spotters to tell you where these guys are when you're screaming into pit road. Another highlight again, Jeremy Carter now up 16 positions, up to 8th.
You're absolutely right, John. I want to go back to what you were saying about pit stops here. And at Atlanta Motor Speedway, you're going to see these drivers, when they do come into pit on these green flag runs, is they're going to be very close to each other coming on pit road, and they cannot afford to make any mistakes speeding on, spinning coming on the pit road, or speeding coming off pit road. That's going to hurt you a lot here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And like I was saying, they're going to be so close to each other because when they're in for their service stop, they're going to try to gain as many positions as possible coming off at pit road, what they haven't gained on track before getting service. So that's why they're going to be very close together.
Yeah, Daniel, John, I tell you right now, Austin Smith, he's leading this back in 6 cars, and they are out of Atlanta right now, headed to the North Pole to see Santa Claus. And these guys are gone.
See right there, Dennis Kane currently P3 in the first 6 cars right now.
Yeah,
See behind him in the 29, that's Aaron Cullenhaus.
yeah, it looks like that second line, that second groupation is getting ready to, they're trying to form up, trying to get some kind of organization going. They can catch these top 6 vehicles right now. But I tell you what, though, Daniel, based on last night, Austin Smith said last night he was going to win. He's going to put his car 3 wide and put himself into situations that he hasn't been in, that he normally wouldn't put himself in, and that he did exactly that.
Well, look where he is right now. I mean, he's currently P1 right now, currently leading this 6-car pack. And Austin Smith has been a very talented driver. He's been a good driver. He races good around everybody else. He treats everybody with respect, so he gets respect back. And that's what's great about racing in this league. You got to respect everybody if you want to be respected. It's pretty simple. And, you can learn a lot from these drivers if you are new to the league, because they can show you on how to run in a pack like this on these drafting style tracks. As you see right behind Austin Smith, we have a Toyota, and that is John Fowler in the 16 machine, also having a very strong run early on.
Let's take a moment to talk about Dennis Kane, driving third, or position third right now, 31 laps in. Last week at Indy, 12 to go, he ended up going off the nose of number 56 driver, that's Tansman. I don't see him in the field tonight. But number 56 of Tansman, he ended up, it was really ending a good day. He was up front, ended up finishing P20. Looking to recover tonight, currently well on his way in the top 3.
Yeah, don't look now, John, but that second group has caught your top 6. That 6-car breakaway is now a 20-car pack.
Mm-hmm.
As Truth Hope, he got himself into the wall. He got a little out of shape, got himself in the wall. He's going to save it. And
oh, there's trouble
11.
happening in the back.
We got a Waffle House in the back.
Wow, heavy damage. There's the 44. That's Ryan Coker.
And this is what happens when you start catching up to these people. So let's take a look here, try to see what occurred. Following on board with not on board, following AJ Cawthon. See 3 wide right
there.
Here.
Got him loose.
And that wow, it's a huge hit with that 44, and then 44 gets hit inside wall, loses the front bumper right there. That's very reminiscent and shows you very well what happened when you get a little bit too close. So now, we got 3 of us in the booth today. This is lap 34. We know these drivers are going to come down pit road. So what this really allows us to do is get some really good interviews in under this break. So, Alan, if you want to take a minute, pick maybe, say Jeremy Carter, jump in with him and see if he's available for an interview, and then we can bring him in and we can see what his thoughts are as he drives to the front. So Daniel, while we're waiting on him to do that, the whole field's coming down pit road. A sea of race cars on pit lane right now. You can see them all right there. What an excellent view. Another view from the TV tower here. Multiple drivers pitting in, pitting in. I expect to see everybody take 4 and fuel. No one's coming out just yet. Austin Smith was first on his stall. I expect him to be first out, and he is.
I'm back, John. So Jeremy Carter politely declined. He said he's focused up.
All right. Well, we gave it a shot. We can always look for somebody else. You could even look towards, say Dennis Kane real quick and see if he's interested in a conversation. I want to make note that most of these drivers, all of these drivers, took 4 tires and fuel. Thomas Stanley spent a little extra time on pit road. He was in there for about an additional 5 seconds, possibly fixing some damage. May have had a bit of trouble getting into his pit box. We weren't able to find out.
Oh, here we go.
And so that's caution number 1, Daniel. So we're already well on our way to 3 or more. But what do you think is going to happen now that everybody, fresh tires, we're going to restart? Do you think this race is going to happen just like it did from the beginning? Or do you think it's going to mellow out a little bit now?
I believe it's going to mellow out a little bit right now. It's like a reset button right now. Everybody's thinking different things here under the caution. What they're going to do, what line they prefer. But now they have a feel of what their car feels like at the new configuration here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So I do expect some great racing once again. But there is that possibility is that when they do bunch up again, if somebody pushes wrong, it could cause another caution. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this restart here as you see them double file going down the back straightaway.
Gotcha. It looks like it's too late to talk to any of these drivers with Jeremy Carter declining, but he's up there racing, so it's better to stay focused. But we're getting ready to go back to green, so we're gonna let you have this one, Alan.
All right, so coming back to green on lap number 35, we'll be taking the green at 36. We got Austin Smith on the inside. He's gonna be the point guy, and Gordon Spain is on the outside in P2. Corey Carell is in row 2, and Austin Smith is going to bring him down as you see the Iracing pace car take the hard left. Austin Smith through the restart zone, and he is on the loud pedal, and he's taking Corey Carell with him right down into turn number 1. Gordon Spain is going to be P4, Jeremy Carter P3, Fowler P5, Ira Hall is going to be P6, and running 7th is going to be Andrew Teth. And they are 3 wide down the back straightaway. Daniel, this action's heating up tonight. We're only 36 laps in.
On that restart, you did see the 3 of Gordon Spain spin his tires there. That's why he didn't get such a great launch. That allowed the inside line to go below and past him. But now the 3 finds himself currently P5, falling back a little bit, but he is now in line on that inside line. Going to have to regroup and charge to the front once again.
Right now, you got Austin Smith running the lead. He's He organizes those lines. He's good. He's one good draft partner, and he's the type of guy you want to draft with on these super speedway type races. But Andrew Tuft, he's trying to get a second line going, and these guys are racing pretty hard going into turn number 1. As you see, Andrew Tuft got a few more guys to help him out. But I tell you what, John, these guys are getting after it right now. They're getting all they can get out of these race cars.
Well, at some point you have to see how long it takes you to get to the front, and I really kind of think that this racetrack, it's harder to get to the front than it is at, say, Talladega or Daytona. Even though you get the same kind of freight train rush here, you just run out of room. And at Daytona and Talladega, you do have that opportunity to take it 3 wide, 4 wide in some places, and if you get a push, you can go right to the front, and it's a little easier to weave in and weave out of lanes, and I'm thinking right there, they might have been thinking about doing that up front, but it's just a lot closer as far as the racing goes, and that makes it a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, to do that here at Atlanta. But at some point, you guys need to figure out how you do better. And seeing a lot of drivers moving lots of positions. You got Brad Hayes up 10 spots, Kinsley Smith up 10, Dwayne McMahon up 11, John Schlombachler 11, Michael Brooks 11, which means there's a handful of drivers going down also. I'm not sure if that's by design. A little further back here, I'm going to say it is, actually, now seeing that this is a group. But lots of movement happening so far in this race, and a lot of guys saying it's go time, and a handful of guys saying we're going to wait this out. We think there'll be a caution closer to the end.
Yeah, John, I want to point out Jeremy Carter. He's up 21 spots. That's huge on a racetrack like this, running P3. He's running a smart race. He's minding his P's and Q's, not putting himself in a hurtful situation right off the bat. And the other guy I want to give a shout out is to Corey Krell. He's running a smart race. He hasn't had a couple weeks go his way. He won Indy last week, and so I think that momentum. I'm a huge believer in momentum, and I think that is going to be huge for him. So maybe he can go back to back tonight. Who knows?
And we'll have to see as this race goes on further. Really knocking things down. It's happening quickly. We've had the one caution, and we're only 25 minutes in. We're already coming to lap 45.
Alright, going on lap 45 out of 130. This race is going to start going by very fast if we do have another long green flag run here. As you see, Jeremy Carter currently P3, gaining 21 spots, and at 26 Chevrolet having a great run here tonight. Loving the scheme, loving that green and black and white scheme going on, but right now our leader is Austin Smith still.
Yeah, Daniel, speaking of paint schemes tonight, you know, they say green is bad luck on a race car, but Jeremy Carter is showing you tonight that that's not exactly the case. I'm not a superstitious guy, but green on a race car, I mean, we could go either way with that.
Look at that 6 car. That is Andrew Tuft leading that outside line, trying to get some momentum going, trying to get back up to the front. Also having a very strong night. He's battling side by side with the 3 of Gordon Spain going down the back straightaway as they head into turn 3.
And speaking of Andrew Tuft, we can take a look at Alex Tuft a little further back in 10th. Ended up finishing P2 last week. Had to recover from a speeding penalty, which left him a lap down, and he still managed to get his lap back and make it up to P2. And the speeding penalty occurred much closer to the end of the race, so he had a really great recovery, finishing P2. Currently scored 10th here at Atlanta, kind of just biding his time. I imagine we'll be talking more about him as this race goes on, and we're coming more down towards the wire.
Look at that 6 machine. He's making a move on that outside line once again, getting closer and closer to the front. Now currently up to 5th place, cracking the top 5.
Yeah, Daniel, Andrew Tuft is having a whale of a run. But guys, I yet to see...
Oh! Oh, there goes
trouble,
Andrew
trouble.
Teff. The 16's around. The 4 also around. Back straightaway. That's
Wow.
Dennis Kane.
That is a bunch of cars. That's caution number 2 happening on lap 48. Let's see how this goes down.
Here we come. Going down. I mean, out turn 2, going down the back straightaway. See the 6 battling next to the 16 there. Going down the back straightaway. Looks like he came down a little bit on the 16, collects the 4 as well. And that just creates a big one heading into turn 3.
You know, Daniel, we're gonna watch that one more time. I think I might disagree with you on that.
I second that one. To me, it looked like the 16 car got out of whack and came
Did
up
he get
on the
loose?
6 car.
Yeah. It looks like he. It
Oh,
looks like
yeah,
he just
now I see it.
might have thought he was clear, or I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
now I see it. It looks like it was the 16 more.
That violent defense, Andrew Teft machine, definitely tried to violently defend his position, and it unfortunately did not work out.
Yeah,
But I really like
Andrew
that scheme. That looks nice.
Andrew
It's a
Teff.
lot of race cars.
Andrew Teff was a victim of circumstance whenever John Fowler had that hiccup.
And John Fowler coming down pit road, taking a huge impact, a lot of damage after what happened right there. Additionally, a couple other drivers kind of suffered from that. And we'll keep an eye out to see how the drivers that were involved are doing.
The good thing too, John, is they have that one fast repair still, so it's kind of like you can keep that in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But you only get it one time, so once you use it, you are pretty much out of luck.
Well, that's the thing. They only have one fast repair. And now, if they used it, since they were involved in that wreck, they're going to have to be very cautious going on this restart here, because if they get major damage, their night could be done.
So that is caution number 2. As the lights are out on the Iracing pace car, and they're getting ready. They're doubling up now, going into turn number 1.
Field bunching up once again after our second caution of the night here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. John, what are our expectations going into another restart here?
Well, we're still not even to the halfway mark in that. I just don't expect too much chaos to ensue, and really even the caution that just occurred was just a misstep. It wasn't a factor of aggressive driving. It was, Fowler, I just really don't think he recognized the car was so close, because it was just been too egregious to just turn up into somebody like that aggressively or to block there. So that was just an incident of circumstance. I don't think we're going to see extreme aggression until we're about to the, say, 110 mark, and we've still got 60 laps to go until we reach that portion of the event.
Yeah, John, these guys, Austin Smith is gonna lead the field to the Geico restart zone, and coming to the restart zone, Austin Smith is on the loud pedal. He is taking Corey Corral with him down to turn number 1. Corral's gonna fall in the line, and the rest of the field is gonna be 2 by 2 down into turn number 1.
Something about this racetrack that messes with you is that these cars look like they're going so slow on the start, but in a turn 1, they were doing 150 miles an hour already. Just talk about the sheer size of the racetrack and the angle that we were viewing them. So right now you do have Austin Smith, Corey Corral up front, 1-2. They got about a half-second gap to the rest of the field. That gap is going to be quickly erased within a lap, as you already see these guys bunching up behind them.
Doesn't take long for the field to bunch up after a restart. It takes a few laps. And once that happens, you're going to see them start pushing once again, making different lines happen and work. As you see right now, Austin Smith currently leading the pack. And right now, you see that outside line once again forming, heading into turn 3.
Yeah, that outside line, they're trying to get something going as they are trying to catch the field. And I don't know if you noticed this, John, there's a huge bump about about a quarter way through that quaddle. There's a huge bump and it'll upset the car. And these guys will try to use the apron too. And I tell you what, that apron will get you loose when you come back onto the racing surface, John.
You know, as you were saying that, I think I caught a glimpse of that bump that you were talking about, and I could see how you'd want to avoid it, especially to keep a good run going. And if they're going at these kind of speeds, any bit of a wiggle could throw you off your line just a bit. And when you're on a track like this, you want to keep your tires there, and momentum is such a key factor. You can lose so many positions so quickly by just dropping a couple miles per hour for only a mere 10 to 12 seconds, which 10 to 12 seconds is third around the racetrack.
Yeah, that 10 to 12 seconds could be the difference between a top 5 and a top 20 right now in this field. And you got Kinsley Smith. He's trying to work that outside. It looks like he's going to get hung up dry as everybody's going to fall back in line. Right now, you're watching a train led by Austin Smith. And I think right now, Kinsley's just looking for a hole to get back in the line. I don't think he's meaning to try that outside as quickly as he can because he is really struggling right now.
The one thing is when you get out of line or you get pushed out of line, and they're in a snake line formation, you're going to fall all the way to the back unless you find a hole in that line and you can fill that hole. You know, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to go all the way back, and you're going to have to wait until another line forms again, or just try to work your way back up front.
Yeah, Daniel, it looks like Brad Hayes jumped out up to the high line to kind of help Kinsley Smith. And you got 3 Chevrolets working together. Now you got 2 different kinds of teams. You got your teammates, and then you got your manufactured teammates. So these guys, Chevys will normally work with Chevys, Fords will normally work with Fords. But in these series, and all 3 of them, like tonight, we got 5 Toyotas, and they're all running outside the top 10, and the whole top 10 is Chevrolets.
Oh!
That's a tough break.
82 went upside down going into turn number 1. That was a huge hit for him as the caution comes out for the 3rd night tonight.
That was awfully reminiscent of the driver who got stuck in the catch fence. I believe that was... Oh, who was that happened to that got stuck? Let's see. It was Thomas Stanley who got stuck in the catch fence. Wow, that's a big hit right there. Spread out. That was kind of an aggressive move. And yeah, that 82, like you said, just goes for one heck of a ride. Let's watch that one more time and get your thoughts on it, Alan.
Yeah, it's just... It looks like Joshua Neal just got a little out of shape and had to check up. And these cars close so fast. Right there in that bump, something upset the car in the front in that quaddle one. Next thing you know, it's Calamity Corner going down to turn number 1.
Yeah,
Looks like another cleanup on L5.
Yeah, a lot of drivers involved. Jason Bottoms, Gordon Spain, Joshua Neal, of course, Ryan Coker, Gordon Spain. I'm even showing Dennis Kane involved in it. Go back one more time to look at Dennis Kane getting a little bit of a piece of it. More of a piece of it right there. Impact from the 44. Oh, and a big hit from the 43. And you know, Dennis Kane having a rough week at Indy. Could be on his way to having another rough week here at Atlanta.
And some of those drivers that were involved in the big accident before this one took their fast repair, and some of these drivers did get collected once again. So we're going to have to see how this affects their night tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're only 60 laps in, and I think it's going to be the over because now we're working our third caution. So at 3 to 5 cautions, I think we're going to take the over on that.
Yeah, and, I would imagine we're going to see at least one or two towards the very end of the race when the intensity level picks up a whole lot. So right now, I mean, we'll probably get another one. I bet these guys are going to settle down just a bit. What do you guys think that are out there watching this event? Are they going to settle down a little bit, or are we going to see some more of this as we are going more towards the opposite end? Not quite to halfway yet, but we'll be getting pretty close when we go back to green here in just a few minutes.
I'm sure we're gonna see this anticipation of these wrecks probably go up past halfway. I expect the racing to get more aggressive, a lot more lanes, possibly three wide action too. So we're gonna have to see what they can do here.
For sure. And I want to point out this too. Austin Smith is second right now. And right now, under these pace laps, they have Ryan Coker lined up between Austin Smith, or they did. Now they're doubling up as the lights go out on the iRacing pace car. And it looks like Paul Shaw has had his fun meter pegged for the night. I think he called it quit. But I digress. So right now you got Andrew Tuft is on the point, and you got Austin Smith. He's going to be outside. Inside is going to be Ira Kohlhaas. Crow is going to be P4. And you got the other Tuft brother who's up 13 spots, or 12 spots rather. He's going to be starting on the outside of row number 3 on this restart with True Thoke. Mister, where have you been lately in that Casey's General Chevrolet? As we're going to come down, as we're working our way into lap, or corner number 3. Excuse me, I can't talk tonight. And you're getting ready to see that iRacing pace car make its left-hand turn, come into the restart zone. Alex Tuft on the button, and he's going to take off way late in the restart zone, but we are green, green, green as Andrew Tuft fires off into turn number 1, and he's going to bring Austin Smith to his outside. And Daniel John, this is the first time we've seen Austin Smith on the outside lane.
And we're going to see what he can do now, running that outside line, battling side by side with the 6, going down the back straightaway, but that 23 has the momentum. He's going to have the nudge and the edge, and he's going to be leaving this pack coming out of turn 4, but here comes the 6, battling on the inside once again.
Yeah, things really happening quickly. As soon as somebody takes the lead, the other row gets the momentum, and it's somebody else in the lead. A lot of different lead changes in this race. That'd be a hard stat to keep for us here. I certainly wish iRacing could keep statistics like that, because at a racetrack like this, I bet we'd easily see 35 to 40 lead changes, and even only a 130 lap race.
Yeah, last night we saw the Tuft brothers hook up and start working together. Will we see that again tonight? We don't know. But I can tell you this. Austin Smith, he is back down to his money line, which is on that inside line. As you're riding with Michael Smith, you're watching him go around the racetrack. He's running about mid-pack right now. He's 2 spots away from cracking the top 10. And there's just as many battles going on mid-pack and in the back of the field as there are in the front. And you see the beautiful case number 62 car of Thomas Stanley, who had that unfortunate incident last week at Indy, putting it right into the catch fence, but tonight is all about redemption for him.
Sure is. So we're on lap 66. We'll do something we haven't done in a while. We'll take a quick step back. We're going to turn it up for you guys. Your broadcast team will be back in just a moment.
All right, welcome back to the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup. And while we were away at break, the caution came out. So let's go back and look and see what happened there, John.
Just yet, but I know there were drivers that had trouble. Let's look a little further in the back here. Ah, here it is, the 7 and 44, as well as the 87. Is that right? Oh, big hit, Ryan Coker.
That one hurt. He's gonna need some goodies headache powder after that one.
That was like the third flip of the night, I do believe. You're on the front straightaway.
In effect, you know, he just nosed it into the wall and it took off.
That was a pretty big impact right there.
It's like the worst angle you can hit.
And I think Kinsley Smith, his fun meter might be pegged for the night. Cause we don't see him out on track.
You almost have to survive even at Atlanta, kind of like Daytona, Talladega too, and we're kind of seeing that right here, as now we're past the halfway mark on our fourth caution. Just little things can collect a lot of cars because you have to race close together here in order to make it work, and we're seeing a bunch of guys get collected.
Yeah, John, these guys it's close quarters racing right now, and you know they're being I feel like we're being a little bit too aggressive just at halfway, but like you said, they have to race, they have to make moves to get to the front, and unfortunately that's just a byproduct of the racing that's here in Atlanta now.
See right there in the 93 of Zach Lockett, currently fourth. Gonna restart on that outside line.
All right, so Austin Smith is in the lead right now, and you got Corey Corral to his outside coming to this restart. Ira Kohlhaas is on the inside of row 2 coming to restart. 93 of that New Jersey double paint scheme, that Chevrolet of Zach Lockett. He must be a New Jersey guy. Can't blame him. Sixth position, you got Andrew Test or Alex Test to 6th. And I skipped one. You got Andrew. You got the Teft brothers in the same row. So we're working in the turn number 3 here in Atlanta. Lap 71. We're gonna come back to green at lap 72, and you got Austin Smith in the lead. The iRacing pace car is gonna make the hard left turn to the Geico restart zone. They go, and Austin Smith is on the loud pedal coming out of the restart zone, and he's gonna bring Ira Kohlhaas with him in the bottom lane as Corey Corral tries to keep up, and these guys are gonna fall in line. They're gonna funnel down at turn number 1. Not too many guys are gonna go to the outside, as you see Brad Hayes in the 27 car are gonna lose wholesale ground on the outside as he tries to get back in the line.
And that outside row didn't organize at all. Everybody seemed to drop to the bottom real quickly. A couple guys trying to make it work now. You got the 6, you got Andrew Teft, you got Alex Teft up there trying to make the outside row work. A little reminiscent of what you mentioned yesterday, how they got together, and that was the partnership.
Yeah, Andrew Teft and Alex Teft have found each other on the racetrack. Austin Smith better look out because the Teft brothers are coming to town. Not Santa Claus, the Teft brothers.
Looks like Brad Hayes decided he wanted to join that train. And a little bit behind them, it looks like, is it the 13 of... No, it looks to be the 11 of AJ Cawthon also trying to make that outside lane work. And follow in tow with them.
Yeah, AJ Cawson is on that outside. He's got a little bit of front end damage that's going to affect his aerodynamics. He's not such a great lead car, but he might be a good pusher for someone. He could definitely play spoiler in the late stages of this race. As Alex and Andrew are trying to make something happen, and you got Ira Coles, he's going to join up there and lead this outside line as they try to get past Austin Smith. They're trying not to let him go back to back tonight.
See the field going into turns 3 and 4. All double wide right now as you see the 29 battling on the outside. Again, a good run on the 23. It's not going to be enough though, but they're still battling side by side coming across start finish line.
Yeah, Daniel, these guys are changing leads. They're swapping the leads hardcore right now. And this is another instance where you got a 190 mile an hour pace lap. These guys are not giving each other an inch, not even a centimeter.
And you see that 82 mid-pack right now. He was on the top lane moving down to that inside line. And that inside line is now losing a little bit as you see the 29 of Iron Kohlhaas getting the edge there on the front straightaway. Let's see if he can get the lead here in turns 1. And he does a little bit.
Yeah, Daniel, just when you think that Ira Kohlhaas is going to nudge out that outside line, here comes Austin Smith with the inside line. So it's like a tug of war battle.
And it also does depend on how organized you are and the pushes you are doing. The more organized, the more runs you're going to get, and the better runs you're going to get.
For sure, Daniel, that inside line is starting to slip a little bit. So I watched Alex and Andrew test, and I'm reminiscent of Tony Stewart and Dale Jr. when they used to get hooked up all the time at the super speedways. They were an unstoppable force, and this is why you can only contain them, but you can't stop them.
See right there, the 23 Austin Smith now back up front here, battling with the 29 Iron Kohlhaas. He is not going anywhere. He's very strong here in these super speedways. But that 6 machine is telling me that he's going to start getting a little more aggressive now.
So you got Austin Smith. He's trying to get that inside line organized. And we're going to come right through the trials. We're working lap 80 right now. 80 laps of 130. And these guys, some of these guys they're battling pretty hard. And you got Truth Hoke back there in the number 59 car. Zach Lockett, he's moved up 11 spots. 12th is Andrew Tuft right now is your biggest mover at 12 positions, one of your biggest movers. And I love the racing here. I mean, it's high paced, high action racing right now.
See right there, the 23 now controlling the field coming out of turn 2. He's going to have to block a lane if they do get a run, but he's going to stay to the inside going into turn 3.
Yeah, Daniel, this is one of those times where that inside line gets an advantage, and then the outside line gets an advantage. Then the inside line gets the advantage, and then the back and forth. But right now, give the inside line and Austin Smith the advantage over Ira Kohlhaas, as these guys are making hay on the inside right now.
And now let's talk about this, Alan. We're past halfway, and we've seen big ones happen here. Now, could we end up with a surprise winner?
Oh, for sure. It's like winning the lottery. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And a lot of times it's better to be good than lucky, as you got a couple of guys trying to force the issue. And this outside line of Ira Kohlhaas has fell all the way back to 6th position. So these guys, Andrew Tuft and Alex Tuft are probably getting frustrated right now, because all they want to do is get up front and start leading laps. But these guys, I think we're in a situation where these guys are just content riding around, and there's a such thing as cooperation. So they're going to cooperate with you until about 10 to go, and then throw that out the window.
Well, they're going to have to fall back in line. Now, you see that outside line is no longer there anymore. The sticks of Andrew Teff going back out there on the outside line, trying to see if anybody will go with him. But he's going to have to fall back in line probably and get momentum starting a go again. As you see more cars pop into that outside line. Let's see if the outside line can get anything again.
Yeah, you got the 26 car, Jeremy Carter. He's trying to get something going. But right now, it's been all Austin Smith since the green flag had dropped some 85 laps to go. And, I mean, Daniel, these guys, it's going to come down to fuel mileage. We might even get to see a green flag pit stop tonight.
See right there. The 59 of Proof Hope hasn't been up front most of the time. Most of the time he's been mid-pack, but he's doing an excellent job here tonight, proving that he can race with these other drivers on a super speedway. As you see, that inside line has formed a very well organization that is going to hurt the 16 and the 6 on that outside line. They're going to need more cars to help them.
Yeah, these guys are in no man's land for sure. And Ira Kohlhaas is trying to get into the mix here. And, I mean, you're going to see this a lot, especially on super speedways and especially here at Atlanta. I mean, these guys are driving off. That inside line's driving off to the North Pole, and they're leaving the outside behind them.
You see right there, the 26 of Jeremy Carter also having a good run tonight, staying inside the top 10. Right in front of him is a 93 of Zach Lockett as they enter turn number 1.
Yeah, that outside line just can't seem to get anything going, as they're all the way back. The closest car that's running the outside line is the 16 car of, the 16 car, which would be, get my mind. I digress.
It's just got you stumped a little bit, but the outside lane's not going, and it's really just a car count number, and you know that, these drivers know that, and they're sticking it out though, because you don't want to be trying to get into that outside row when you need to. But perhaps these guys are considering pitting in the near future, and that could be why we're seeing a lot of drivers more down towards the lower lane, because a large portion of these guys, 1st through 14th, last pitted on lap 60. So 30 laps of fuel. They've still got room left to go here. But you got to start wondering, do you want to short pit somebody? Do you and your friend have an opportunity or a team? Because I know we've seen cautions, but this group of guys is very capable of making it all the way without another caution. They are very capable of doing that, and you have to consider that at least a little bit.
You're right, John, and you're going to know when the drivers are starting to think about coming down pit road. You'll start seeing them form a snake line going down the front or back straightaway so they don't wreck each other coming onto pit road. So you're going to see these drivers probably practice a few laps before coming in, just getting in that line of formation, and so they can get into pit road no problem. As you see right there, Andrew Teff and the stick still running that outside line.
Yeah, Daniel, it looks like he's getting something going. And then the 16 car was John Fowler. I lost my train of thought earlier. I do that every once in a while. I'm a little crazy, but nonetheless, a little craziness right now is Andrew Teff on that outside line by himself with Ira Kohlhaas and Brad Hayes in line with them. And Brandon Honeycutt's trying to make something happen too.
Yeah, so we're closing in on that, 35 to go mark. And we're getting close to where the intensity starts really picking up. That outside line is going to get organized here very quick, either by design or not by design, with people trying to make positions. But things are about to start heating up here as we are closing in on the 100 mark.
it's going to heat up very, very fast. You're going to see a lot of different lines being used. You're going to see the driver's aggression go up too, because they're going to be making risky moves too that could take them out of this race. But that's the excitement of these super speedways, John. And, we could see a completely different driver that hasn't been up front most of the race, and they could win.
For sure, Daniel. And, to Daniel's point, here in the later stages, these guys are going to start making more aggressive moves that they would not have made on lap 20. But I think one more stop and these guys will just about have it the rest of the way.
Oh,
We got trouble.
One car go around. That's the 20.
Oh, he's gonna come. Oh man.
Yeah, Corey Corral's going to park it there on the front, there on the back stretch after spinning.
Well, really, you're almost the best thing you can do is pretty much just sit there and not go further. But let's see what happened here. Corey Crowell up front. Wow, this is harsh. Right up there at P2. Gonna get a little bump here.
Yep.
Wow,
Right out of the corner.
That's such a light bump, though. And that was enough to upset the car, collect that number 59, that Casey's machine. That's Truth Hoke, and Corey Crowell is just going to sit, wait for the cars to go by, and back it up. I don't think he's too damaged here, but any bit of damage at a drafting track is a huge issue. Really good run going for him right there. That's going to solve the pit strategy problem as the whole field's coming down pit road at this time.
Unfortunately, the cars come down pit road, get their service, probably their final pit stop of the night here from Atlanta Speedway. I want to go back to what you were saying, John. Any type of damage could affect your aero, and if that does happen, you're not going to have the car that you started with no damage. And like I said earlier on in the pre-race, if you do one little wrong bump on that back quarter panel, and the turns are coming off of the turns, like we saw coming off of turn 2, it's going to upset the car and send the car going around. And that's what unfortunately happened with the 20 of Corey. So very unfortunate for him, but it's a great race so far.
Yeah, now we got a new race. And also, I believe that was caution number 5.
Yeah, that is correct. Caution number 5.
Corey Crowell wants to know why we're bumping in the corners.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that keeps his cell phone in his car with him. So he's very opinionated. Sometimes I do kind of like that. He's kind of one of the drivers that you might see tweeting mid-race, mid-caution. And, I feel his struggle, second to 20th real quick. And that's just hard. And, and I didn't think it was a very big push. And so I was kind of surprised to see that sent his car around that way. In fact, we can go back one more time and look at it because we have a second. But I just didn't think that was a very big push. And it's just very strange how it unsettled his machine and caused it to happen. See, it was pretty straight. It was awfully straight. We can try it from on board with him to see what his wheel does here. But yeah, it just looks like the back end just steps right out.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, John, is when you come up the corner, that's the loosest part of the track for your car. So any little bump can get the car upset, like you said earlier. So I firmly believe that the 93 car did nothing wrong. It's just the right combination by Zach Lockett, and just the right combination. Corey Crowell is just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, and when you're looking at it on that view right there, it almost kind of looks like, and I'm not assessing blame here, that Corey in the 20 took just a tiny bit off throttle and the 93 didn't have to, or, the factor of the draft there, because I don't think he meant to touch him, but that happened from no touch to his car just sucked right up to the rear bumper of that car very quickly. As here we are going to green on lap 99, coming to 100. Austin Smith, Brad Hayes. Hayes up 18 positions now in this race in P2. One more gets him the lead. But, just one of those things right there that happened. I didn't think it was too malpractice, obviously, of racing. It just kind of, I don't think he had time to react or brake or even try to let out the throttle to not send him around. Tough break for the number 20 machine. He was in a really good position, has been running that way all race. We'll keep an eye on him. I expect him to be moving back to the front in a hurry.
Yeah, John, to your point, I think he's going to move back to the front. Don't count him out. This race is far from over. As we're at the century mark in this one. But nonetheless, guess what? You got a Teft brother on the point right now. As Austin Smith just fell back to third.
You're right there, Andrew Teft in that 6 machine out front, leading the pack here with the 29 Iron Kolas, right to his bumper in second place right now. This is actually the first time we ever seen the 6 out front leading the pack here. As you see, that inside line is very well organized. Nobody going on the outside lane just yet. I think they're just playing follow the leader at this point a little bit.
Yeah, that's not going to last for too terribly long, but kudos to Andrew Teft. He had trouble earlier as he got a car in the wall back there. I think that might have been the 21. James Smith. Not James Smith. It was Dwayne Mahan right behind him. But Andrew Teft having a little trouble earlier, got involved in a bit of something, and now he's back out front leading the race. So that fast repair or only a little bit of damage from that earlier incident, and he's out front. I expect there to be some more lead changes before the end of this one. I'm not sure if he would prefer to be out front or be the car chasing, but I bet we'll know the answer for all of these drivers when they cross the checkered line.
Yeah, John, I would not be content on following anybody right now. I'm kind of like Austin Smith. He's going to start putting himself into a peculiar situation as he comes down, screaming down the backstretch. And I think he's got a good drafting partner there with Zach Lockett there in the 93 New Jersey Devils Chevrolet there. As you see Austin Smith go to the outside, which is a line he has not ventured out to at all tonight, unless he absolutely had to.
And something funny to mention here, Austin Smith has one of the slowest best laps of the race, but the funny thing about that is he's got that slower time because he's been out front for so often. He doesn't have as much draft help as cars further in the back that might get that huge run at a turn 4 to make up time. So we know Austin Smith has been used to being up front. He's going to have to get some help on this outside lane to try to get up to Andrew Teft to clear him. And I think we're about to start seeing side drafting being a really big thing here. And I like side drafting. It spooks some people out, and it should, because you get really close to them. But it absolutely helps the downforce of the car to the outside. It helps keep momentum, especially if you're taking the slightly longer way around on the outside or may not have as much help. As man, they're really spreading out right there. You see a lot of lane changing and hopping out of lane right here. Things are, here we go, guys. It's time to get crazy.
And you did say, John, they're not going to stay single file for long. As you see, they're making moves, aggressive moves and risky moves right now as they're doubling up once again. And you see right there the 6 battling side by side with the 23. They're going to be nose to nose coming off turn 4.
Yeah, Daniel, John, we might see that Teft brother battle tonight, and whoever comes out on top is going to have bragging rights going into Christmas dinner on Tuesday night, or Monday night rather. So these guys are very, very aggressive right now, as you see Austin Smith right back out front. And it's almost like Jeremy Carter's gonna get his car upset as Andrew Teft is painting his back porch purple on that number 26 ride.
You
Yeah,
know,
wouldn't be shocked if we do see 3 wide action here later on in these closing laps. As you see, most of the field still doubled up, battling very hard. The outside lane falling back a little bit, but they'll be back up front in a matter of no time.
I still think everybody on the lead lap has a chance to win this race. So taking a look back here, Diego Rodriguez, 24 car, had a great run last week. Rough start to the beginning of the season. These guys, though, in the back have put themselves in quite the predicament. If the caution does not come out, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
If the caution comes out too late, they're still in trouble because they're going to be 10th, 11th, 12th in line. This isn't where I think they're too far back, kind of late, and they're going to really need some help in order to have an opportunity at this one. And they can't catch these guys, and being in the back with 7, 8 to go typically doesn't really work good for you at these racetracks.
It doesn't. But it doesn't. It's like a small fish in a big pond for them right now. As you see, the 23 leading this pack back out front here, but the outside lane is moving very quickly. Let's see if the 29 will go to the outside. Nope, he's gonna stay on the inside.
Yeah, to your point, John, if you back further deep in the field, Diego Rodriguez as Ira Koloff gets really out of shape, and thank God he didn't turn that car right on around, but he's gonna kind of ease her back onto the track after he dived off the track there. He got upset. The car got upset rather. But the guys like Diego Rodriguez who had not such a good night, and these guys they're out there just making laps, trying to earn as many points as they possibly can, because every point matters in these leagues and across the series. Once you get to the chase, I mean, this might be the race that knocks them out, or they might get bumped out because of this race.
Well, he doesn't. He doesn't have a very damaged car. He's just back here, I think, biding his time. But with 17 laps to go, I don't like being 10 seconds behind the pack, because if this gets down to 3 to 4 laps to go, you're out of time. You're not gonna not at Atlanta. You're not gonna make up 10, 12 positions without avoiding a last second wreck.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. And the sands in the hourglass are starting to run out for those guys.
Nice battle up front here once again. Andrew Teff going to get that run, going to go to the inside lane to block as they come off of turn 2. Andrew Teff back out front.
Yeah, Dan, you got to wonder if Austin Smith showed his hand just a little too early in the proverbial poker game.
You could think of that, or he could be pushing that 6, make a move on the white flag, possibly get that lead and win this race. I also seen that from drivers too at these super speedway tracks.
I don't know if Atlanta's big enough to make a move out of turn 4 though.
Yeah.
But let's kind of take a look here. We're coming into turn 3. Out of turn 4, we're gonna see like how long it kind of takes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5, 6 seconds. You could probably make a move then. Yeah, 6 seconds. That's probably enough room if you've got some severe speed. But I haven't been behind the wheel of one of these machines at Atlanta in a year, so I just don't know what kind of tow you get when you try to take your bit of a momentum that you have and pass the leader. It's almost like you want to kind of back up just a touch into turns 3 to really pick momentum up through the corner to have enough to make that pass.
You're right, John, and there is another option too. You could have a lot of help and organization behind you too if you do decide to make that move, but that is very unlikely because everybody inside the top 5 is literally going to try to fight for position here. on the final lap. So we're gonna have to see how that ends up later on tonight. So you see right there the 57 and the 11, both out of the draft there.
I do want to point something out. If you look in the running order, Corey Crowell has made it recovered all the way up to 6th position after getting out of shape and spinning out.
You know, that's a good point. He didn't take too long to get back up here. He's right back in this race. You know, he spent the whole lot of the race, second, third, wasn't too worried about leading the race. 5th place now, you know, kind of right where you want to be. He's in a pretty good spot. I think he might have to take this run coming up from the top side. He's thinking about it, I feel like. I think he's going to have to take it with 11 to go.
He might take that run on the outside line because he could be the leader on the outside, as you just mentioned, John. There he goes to the outside. That is the 20 of Corey Carell. Let's see if they can form a really great organization line and move up to the front here.
Yeah, Daniel, I don't think the move happens in turn 4. I think it happens coming down the back stretch. I think if you can get that run out of 2 and get down the back stretch and get the lead, I think that's going to be the move that wins.
Corey Crowell making that high side to low side transition work a little bit for him right there. He hasn't improved his position, but he did improve like his running order, I guess you would say, in his line, going to the high side and then coming back down. So, I almost feel like I would have wanted to stay up top, but the thing is the 93 kind of didn't cut his nose off, but he slid up and took the lead part of that line. So I can see making an argument for wanting to move back down to the inside. And, I feel like the inside you have more options than you do on the outside.
Yeah, the only option you got on the outside is the wall, and no one wants that option.
Or you could side draft, but be very, very careful.
Yeah, we got Austin Smith. We are so familiar tonight, seeing that 23 car out front, and he's showing why he won last night. He's showing these guys the way around, and it looked like the 26 almost backed up to Andrew Teff. There was almost calamity coming out of the turn 2.
You can feel the excitement, the energy, and the anxiety going up here at Atlanta Speedway in these closing laps. As you see now, the 26 of Jeremy Carter out front, bringing that number 6 with him.
It's almost like he's just kind of sat around and waited up here in this lane, waiting to take control of the race. What a time to do it with 6 laps remaining in Atlanta.
Yeah, you see the 26 was waiting probably for the right move. Now he's out front. Now he's going to have to control both lanes here as they have tremendous runs every lap here at Atlanta. As you see right there, 43, big contact. That's going to bring out the caution.
Focus around. Alex
while I'm trying to get this set up to go back there, these guys back here that waited around, waiting for that late caution, this is not going to go well for them. Well, let's see what really happened here to Alex Teft. Wow, that looks kind of weird. And then the 3 just... Gordon Spain, just rough moment right there with the caution. I think he got clipped and sent him hard into the wall. Yeah, he gets hit, then clipped, and big hit from the 13. A lot of takers down pit road, about 7 or 8 cars. Diego Rodriguez comes down pit road, gets fuel. I'm that one's a little bit of a head scratcher for me. I would have taken my positions. AJ Cawthon. So those guys way in the back right there, a little surprised. They all, instead of trying to get an advantage on the guys who had to pit, they came in with them. So I don't know what I don't know, but if I had fuel and enough, if I had enough gas to get to the end, I don't think I was gonna come down pit road like that.
I
Well,
would have I would totally agree with you, John. If that was me, I would stay out and get those positions and hope for the best at that point.
at this point, you got nothing to lose if you're Diego Rodriguez. You got really nothing to lose. So, nonetheless, guys, we're gonna set ourselves up for a green-white checker today.
I think you're right. I think this will be a green white checkered finish here. This won't be the official one. I believe you get one of them. Or excuse me, that's going to be the next season rule change. And so you're going to get one real green white checkered, and then depending if these guys make it back or not, we may have another one.
All right.
The middle of the table, because this is going to be anybody's race.
So, you got Austin Smith leading this one. Jeremy Carter. Where did Jeremy Carter come from? He's
been up here all
riding
day.
second. You got Andrew Taft right there with Austin Smith. Corey Carell's on the outside, just outside. Rounding out your top 5 is going to be Corey Carell. And Joshua Neal. Where did he come from? He was caught up. I think he was on his lid at one point. And
he was caught up caught up in a big wreck. But you know, guys who are fast always find a way back to the top. If you look in the top 7 drivers right here, they are all showing either better than where they started or their starting position. Austin Smith not showing a net gain because he's in first and he started first.
All right, the iRacing pace car is still even off on the pit road. Austin Smith with the button, and they are green, and Andrew Tuff did not get the restart that he was hoping for, but nonetheless, Austin Smith is gone.
I think this is by design right here.
Going to come back right really quick. As you see right there, the 6 and the 26 are going to have a run on him. They're going to have to make a move.
And no move to be made right here. The high side's going to have the momentum. See, that was very damaging as your car got a car going around the back.
Oh, we got a car around.
That was the 45, Michael Smith, who I'm not sure what exactly happened, but he ended up coming back up on the track collecting other drivers. But on that restart, I think that could have been by design because Austin Smith had nowhere to go, and that inside lane had nowhere to go. The outside lane had all the momentum, and it was only really saved, you know, by this caution occurring with Michael Smith.
For sure. And guess now we're gonna have our actual green-white checker, as they did not make it around. And Daniel, let's explain to the audience how the green-white checker works.
So the green-white checkered is where they take the green flag and they have to make it back to the white flag. If they wreck before the white flag, we will re-rack all the drivers, then back up, and they would have to reattempt at it again. If they do get to the white flag and they do wreck under white, the race will be over, and whoever out in front will win this race.
There you have it. That's the rules of the green-white checkered. And I believe they get 2 attempts in this league. They get 2 attempts at the green-white checkered. So, this is going to get real interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember when there was...
We're going to have to see how these drivers handle this green-white checkered, see what lanes they're going to use, see these runs that they're going to get, and possibly it could be a make it or break it.
You guys remember when NASCAR used to have that timing strip on the backstretch? So you didn't even have to get around the full track. And if
Oh
you
yeah,
got
was
to
that
that,
the
the race was
overtime
official.
line?
Yeah, the
Overtime line?
overtime line. You get
Yeah.
to it,
The
overtime's
overtime line.
done. I think I prefer this idea of you get to race back to the flag.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what the overtime line was for. Like, it didn't make any sense. It makes more sense to race back to the white flag.
Oh,
And
guys, I want to mention Joshua Neal was involved in that. Let's
Yeah,
go
he says,
back
"Are you
again and
kidding me?"
watch it. He did. He got all the way back up there.
Unfortunately, John, that was that announcer's curse.
For some reason, his vehicle's not populating for what happened.
Well, John, we're gonna have a green-white checkered, so maybe you can bring us home on this restart.
Well, it's no better time than to get ready to grab your popcorn. You don't have time to go back and grab it, so I hoped you grabbed it at one of the other cautions or intermission portions of this event. These drivers are about to make the next 2 laps outstanding. Key here is going to be don't get too far out in front if you're Jeremy Carter or Zach Lockett, because the rest of the field is going to be coming in a hurry. And if you are the guys on the row behind them, you kind of want to build up a little bit of a gap. So you might even consider being a little bit slow on the start. Not a lot, but a little slow on the start if you're the top 2. But you start playing too many head games, and then it kind of goes, everything can go downhill from there. So this pace car is about to turn down pit road. You're going to grab your bucket of popcorn, get your soda, because race fans, we have 2 laps remaining to decide the victor, as here we are on the throttle. Jeremy Carter, the largest mover of the night, is on the throttle. The outside lane does not go at all. It just does not exist right now. Jeremy Carter and Austin Smith, Zach Lockett, Brad Hayes, and there is no outside lane. Andrew Teft is just dropping like a rock.
yeah, that inside line is very organized. See, right there, 93, Zach Lockett making a move to the outside, going into turn number 4. The outside line is going to make a move here, probably on his final lap here, coming off turn 4.
Yeah, I think Austin Smith he's gonna be like a rattlesnake. He might even give Jeremy Carter the bumper, but he is all over the white bumper of Jeremy Carter coming out of 2. Does he make the move now or does he wait? It appears that he's gonna be there nose to tails. It's like a traffic jam.
27 is going to get turned around.
Goes
That's Brad
around
Hayes.
still side by side for the race win here. The 26, he's getting a nudge. They're going to crash. Oh, 93, he's going to...
It's going to be the 87
Wayne
crashed at the
McMahon.
line.
87 at the line. There was so much going on there.
What a way to get your first win.
And like I mentioned, guys, anything could happen here. And a surprise winner. And look who it is. It's the 87.
Let's watch. Let's focus on the 87 as he comes around. I mean, running 6th on the white flag. 27 gets turned around. Still 4th car, 5th car back here. Trouble up front. Jeremy Carter gets turned. Everybody else gets turned. And Diego Rodriguez comes home 3rd. How in the world?
Wow.
I gotta steal a line from my joy, John. Have you ever?
No. Have I ever not? I have never seen this work. For 130 laps of this race, this guy was 20th or worse. And he finishes 3rd. And you'll see Dwayne McMahon, excellent run for him. Right place, right time. Up 24 positions. biggest mover of the night now. Didn't say his name all night long, and he's the one doing donuts at the start-finish line.
I was not expecting this to happen at all, guys, but that's what these tracks do bring us. They bring us great finishes, and like I said earlier on in the pre-race, we might get a winner that's not even up front, and look who it is. It's the 87. And he hasn't been up front all day, but he was at the right place at the right time, and he got this win.
We're going to keep an eye on this one more time to see how everything went down. Watch Austin Smith, who ended up finishing 6th. And you see Diego Rodriguez there on the white flag. Really, that car is moving up to the front. But here we are in the white flag. And as well as McMahon, both doing an excellent job right there. But we're going to see what happens here, what causes this to go down. The 27 impact right there. But we're on the white flag. Just everybody kind of pushing. It looks like the 29, 28 kind of comes down. 23's there, and it just collects everybody on the outside. Those cars on the inside lane. Lots of room to go for them. Nowhere for the guys on the outside. And what a conclusion here at Atlanta.
For sure. I mean, this race produced everything that and more that we were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gentlemen, it's time for interviews.
I will go ahead and drag Diego down here. See if I do this right. There we go. Diego, down in the booth. How you doing tonight?
I'm feeling better. I still am sick. I probably hear it. I'm really stuffy.
Yeah, Diego. I mean, I'm glad you're feeling better. You had a rough couple of nights just trying to push through these races. But was that strategy riding in the back like that all night? I mean, we thought towards the end of the race, we thought you didn't have much there left in the tank. But I mean, getting third position tonight off on that green white checkered, man, what was going through your mind?
The whole time I was running in the back because I had steering issues. I couldn't get the car to turn. And I just wanted to save my quick repair for the last caution in case I got involved in it. Thankfully I didn't. But I still went down and used it, so I had a new car. That's why I think I finished third. But I'm really happy that I did finish third. I didn't expect it.
So next week we got the Chicago Street Course. What's your mindset going into Chicago? And are you a strong road racer?
I wish I could say I am. I'm not that good at road racing. I'll race it, but I don't think I would finish top 5.
Well, Diego, is there anybody that you would like to thank that helped get you here tonight?
My parents, for supporting me in everything I do and allowing me to do this. You guys, Sim Racing Media, for broadcasting every week, and Racers Elite for hosting these races. And that's really it. Yeah.
All right, your third place finisher, Diego Rodriguez. Have a good night.
You too.
And Daniel, we're gonna bring down Zach Lockett for you, buddy.
Hey, Zach, it's Daniel in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, guys.
Well, man, what an exciting finish here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tell us what was going through your mind there going to the white flag.
Yeah, honestly, Brad Hayes came with me there out of the backstretch. Out of 2, we shot high, and I really felt like I had a good chance there with him pushing me. He was a great pusher all night. I knew the Midwest Motorsports guys were on the bottom, but really thought I was going to come out of the turn 4 there and get a side draft on Jeremy and then take the win. But obviously those guys are battling hard on the bottom for the win. I know the 87 was pushing pretty hard and ended up with the win, obviously. But happy with the day, happy with the finish. I didn't qualify well. Started 17th. There was a lot of traffic to go through. I mean, obviously with the new Atlanta here, we're all pretty tight knit the whole race, so a lot of stuff can go sideways here. But happy about this. Happy about this finish. I really wish I could have came away with the win, but I feel like my win's coming here soon.
You put on a great show for us tonight here from Atlanta Motor Speedway, a drafting style track. Now going into next week, we will be going to the Chicago Street Course, which I'm looking forward to. I don't know about you drivers, but what are your expectations going into Chicago next week?
I unfortunately will not be able to make that race. I wish I could because it seems like a really fun race, but I know that's going to be something I'll definitely turn into here on Sim Racing Media and be excited for these guys. But I'm not a very good road course racer, so I really don't think I would have turned out well in that race. But I mean, even looking past that, I think we got Pocono coming up after that. That's a track I'm really strong at, really excited about getting there, and a couple other 1.5 miles coming up. But that'll be a really cool race next week. But I think for those guys, it's going to be a 1 or 2 car race. Whoever can get up there and qualify up front and make the least amount of mistakes.
And before we let you go, Zach, do you have anybody you would like to thank tonight?
Thank you guys. Always doing a great job here on Sim Racing Media in the booth. You guys are doing excellent on the broadcasts. I want to give a thanks to my teammates, Jason Bottoms and Thomas Stanley. Those guys were helping me out a lot here, helping me through the race. I know they didn't have the night they wanted to have, but they did a good job. Shout out to my girlfriend Erica, letting me do this on a lot of nights of the week. And yeah, man, shout out to everyone here in Racers Elite. Shout out to Corey Crowell as well. I know, him and Austin were honestly running away with this race, and I got into him in the back coming out of 2 there, just trying to give him a little push because I was feeling some heat from the high side. But I don't know where he ended up, but feel bad about that. So shout out to him. Hopefully I'm gonna send him an apology, but being a good sport. And yeah, man, shout out to the Devils. Got to tune in the Devils game now. I know it's on my scheme. They're playing the Oilers. I think they're tied right now. So yeah, go Devils. And thank you guys.
Well, very close to winning here tonight from Atlanta. Hope to see you in the following weeks here on Racers Elite. Congratulations on the top 3 tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Definitely will be, feeling like I should get here in the booth more often and hopefully contending for some more wins.
All right. Have a good night, Zach.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move him up, and then we'll get Dwayne down here for John. Maybe. There you go.
Yeah, there's a bunch of runs.
Welcome
right,
to
thanks.
the booth now. Race winner Dwayne McMahon up 24 positions since the start of this one. Highest finishing Toyota. All we can say is, where did you come from and how does it feel to win in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series?
Thanks guys for having me. This is totally out of character for me. I normally just ride around in the back, try to get more experience. Right place, right time is what I really feel like. I was just talking to Austin about the bump on the coming out of 4 into the dog leg, and I hit him a little harder than what I wanted to, got him a little loose, and I mean, it's not the way I want to get a win, but it is a win. It just feels good, especially for a first win.
And, we were talking about that, how what a way to get your first win. Wild finish. You put yourself in position, and we were talking about the low side earlier. In my opinion, you have more options, and that's exactly what happened right here. You had somewhere to go, and you could go lower, and the guys up top had nowhere to go as the wreck was coming up the track, and that kind of opened the door for you. But again, you put yourself in position. Awesome run. Congratulations. Do you expect to follow that up going into Chicago next week?
No, that's anything. I always feel like if I get a top 20, that's a win for me for making progress in doing this, because I've only been doing it for a little over a year. I just haven't tried to do this to have fun, relax, meet new people, and try to get better. but yeah, the low line was definitely where I wanted to get. The high side, you just doesn't feel like you could make a move. You could get there, get to somebody, but you never could pass. The inside lane to me was where I needed to be and just get the best finish that I could get.
All right. Well, that's a good way to put it. It's the only thing I left have for you, and you go be extremely happy and wow. And I get it. I still haven't run. I don't know why I'm about to talk about a league race for me. I stopped racing years ago because of this right here, doing the broadcast side of things. But since you kind of said you don't have a lot of time to get up here or have these kind of finishes, who do you want to thank? Who lets you race week in, week out? Anyone particular in the league you want to mention? Just kind of give us your last second thoughts before we close this one out.
First, my wife for allowing me to do this, spending a little bit of time away from her. But I just appreciate this group allowing me to get into here and race with them. And it's just been a total learning experience. And I can't say enough for these guys, the way they race clean and respect each other. It's a great league.
I can definitely second that one. But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and let you go, sir. Enjoy the victory, and maybe we'll be talking to you again later in the season.
Okay, great. Hey, I appreciate it. And y'all do a great job calling the race. I go back after the race and watch the highlights and listen to you guys. Y'all do an awesome job.
Thank you, sir. We do appreciate the shout out.
All right, y'all have a great night.
You too. Well, gentlemen, what an outstanding race. I'm glad we did this 3-man booth for this. It worked out really well, just something worth trying out. We were all here able to do it. Only one thing left to do, is talk about the results and then a quick thought about going into Chicago next week. So we'll do this through this finish here together. I'll take care of the top 5. Alan, you can do the next 10, and we'll let Daniel finish out the remaining drivers here. So coming home, P1 up 24 positions from the start of the race. 24 of 27 is Dwayne McMahon. We just heard from him a second ago. The second place belongs to the 93 is Zach Lockett. Oh, so close, wrecking at the line. And then Mr. Where did he come from? Diego Rodriguez finishing 3rd after being back in the 24th position only about 10 laps prior to the end of this race. Or not, maybe about 20 laps prior to the end of the race. Finishes P3. Good recovery for him. Jeremy Carter, biggest mover all race, up front, top 4 all race. Gets turned, coming to the line, racing hard with Austin Smith. Finishes P4. Andrew Teft, the lone Ford Mustang, in the top 16 of the field, rounds out the top 5.
And running P6 tonight, after dominating most of this race, Austin Smith brings home a 6th place finish. Ira Colehouse finishes 7th. 8th goes to Corey Carell after a good night and a recovery himself. Thomas Stanley, after being caught up in a catch fence in Indy, redeems himself for a 9th place finish tonight. Ira Colehouse, or AJ Costin finishes 10th. And you're going to have Truth Hoke finishing 12th. 13th, up 10 spots from where he started from, is Brandon Honeycutt. 14th is going to be Brad Hayes. 15th, Michael Smith. And Sam Holcalls will bring it home 16th.
Finishing 17th, we're going to have John Schobachler. 18th, we're going to have Jason Bottoms. 19th, Joshua O'Neill. 20th, we're going to have the 43 of Alex Teft, another driver who didn't get a great result here tonight, but was up competing in the front for most part of the night tonight. Finishing 21st, we have Michael Brooks. 22nd, Gordon Spain. 23rd, John Fowler. 24th, Kensley Smith. 25th, Ryan Coker. 26th, Dennis Kane, another driver running up front. Got collected in 2 big ones tonight, did not end the night how he wanted to. And rounding out our field tonight is the 27th position is Paul Shaw.
All right. Well, thank you for that, ladies and gentlemen. That stuck out this race with us and watched at Atlanta. We appreciate you being here Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday nights. This crew, 2 of us, maybe 3 of us, will be back next week for Chicago Street Course, and you can always catch Racers Elite here at Sim Racing Media. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, a Merry Christmas, and if you aren't racing or you're not watching, we also hope you have a Happy New Year if we don't see you until the next time. From all of us here at Sim Racing Media, for Alan Bergen, Daniel Paulus, and myself, Jonathan Leach, I wish you all a good night.